Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And here I have a great article for you guys from Eli Blumenthal over at CNET. I'll leave a link to it in the description. I highly encourage you guys to check it out. Lots of great info in this article. And my original video to this topic is listed in this article as well. Now, this will probably be a longer video again, so make sure you guys stay tuned to and check it out. So a few disclaimers right off the bat. Sprint legacy plans are not yet affected. They are not listed on the documents. I saw a lot of comments on the videos yesterday asking about Sprint legacy. Sprint legacy not yet affected. Keywords not yet. I wasn't expecting T-Mobile to do what they just implemented or going to implement. That shocked me. So Sprint legacy customers, you're not safe. I'm telling you that right now. You are not safe from this eventually happening. Maybe not right now, but you're not safe. And then the second disclaimer, a lot of people saying there's a few people saying, oh, this is not a big deal. This doesn't affect a lot of customers. T-Mobile is not going to come out and say, oh, this is a huge negative. This is going to affect X amount of customers. They're not going to say that. You got to look at it. You got to look at the plans that are affected, and you got to go by history, right? Magenta plans implemented and replaced T-Mobile One when? 2019. Magenta Max came into play 2021. That plan is irrelevant because it's not listed as a plan affected, so that's irrelevant. And then Go 5G plans are not affected as well, but those are irrelevant too because they just put them in this year. So most plans, or a large base, right? A large part of the base, like 70%, are sitting on these plans that are affected. Right? Magenta started in 2019. That's most of the new customers that came in to T-Mobile porting in, they are on those plans. But that's maybe 5%, right? 2019, 2020, the merger closed. 2021, you had Magenta Max coming into play, where T-Mobile was stating during the quarterly earnings that 60% of new customers were choosing Magenta Max. Right? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that majority of T-Mobile's customers are sitting on T-Mobile One, Simple Choice. They're sitting on those older plans. And T-Mobile is trying to move them out. Doesn't take, like I said, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. But T-Mobile is not going to disclose that in any of their documents. Of course not. You know, sometimes, these comments scratch my head. It's all corporate talk. Trust me, a lot of people are going to be affected by this. Now, let's get into the video after the disclaimers. Although a lot of people are going to be affected by this, who's really monitoring this on a monthly basis, right? Who's really going in there checking what plan they're on a monthly basis? Who's really checking that? A lot of people are on auto pay. A lot of people are on paperless billing. This is going to be a situation where T-Mobile implements this. The ones that are going to call, that are going to have an issue with it, which I see that being a very few small percentage, T-Mobile's going to tell them, pretty much say, hey, we warned you. These are the changes. Some are going to opt out. Some are not going to be sold. Some are going to be sold on the changes. Some are going to be sold on the new features. Oh, hey, I have Netflix now, maybe for whatever plan they're going to be put on. So some are going to really opt out. But that's going to be far and few in between, in my opinion. Very small percentage that are gonna opt out, in my opinion. The churn bubble, I see that being very, very small too. Maybe 0.1%, 0.2 at most. So I don't see that being a huge issue for T-Mobile either. I feel that T-Mobile feels that they have earned the right to implement this, and they have treated their customer, because a lot of these customers that are affected are going to be loyal customers. If they're on any of those plans listed, they have been with T-Mobile for some time, right? probably 5+ years. So that's loyalty. So T-Mobile is raising their prices, and there's a plan comparison already out there. Most it's an increase of $5, and then people are commenting saying, well, what about price lock? So the loophole here is T-Mobile's not raising price. I know that's a head scratcher, but they're not raising the price of the plan that you're on, which is under price lock. They're moving you to a new plan that's priced higher, right? So it's BS. I get it. It is BS, but that's the loophole that they're implementing. They're moving you to a new plan that's higher priced, but they're not raising the price of your existing plan. So I'm not trying to defend it, right? There's nothing to defend here. It's a bad move in my opinion. I would have been for me, I would have been more okay if they would have just given you a $2 fee on your existing plan. One, that would have been cheaper for you still, and two, it wouldn't have cost you to have to move to a new plan. So I would have been more okay with that. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's an issue from that perspective, because now you're being moved to a new plan. It's a $5 increase. In some cases, it's a $10 increase, depending on what plan you're being moved to. So if you want to check out that plan comparison, I'll leave a link to the article from the Mobile Report, and that plan comparison is listed. So you can see on the left the plan that's affected and the plan that you're being moved to, and you can see the price difference if you are on any of the plans affected, which 50+ million accounts are going to be affected by this. I've already done additional research. It's a lot of people that are gonna be changed to a new plan. And then to top it off as well, Magenta plans are affected too. The ones that went into effect in 2019, they're moving those people too to the Go 5G. So that's a plan change in itself. And guess what? The Go 5G costs more too. So T-Mobile is trying to squeeze more money out of these people. It's clear as day. They're trying to get more money. This is all an incentive for T-Mobile to make more profits, higher revenue. That's all this is. Let's cut to the chase. They're looking for more money. These build outs that these network build outs, the indoor solutions that they're implementing, it's costing them more. It's very expensive. And underinvesting, the 9 to 10 billion is underinvesting. Let's call it what it is. They are underinvesting in the network. They're still doing a lot, but 9 to 10 billion is not a significant amount of capex. As a standalone, they were spending between 5 to 6 billion. That's a few billion of an increase as this huge company, right? So that's going to work for a few years, but eventually T-Mobile's going to have to up that capex, and they know this as well. So I feel they're preparing for that. They're charging more, so eventually they can get to that $13-14 billion range. And then there's several ways that they can maneuver here, right? They're still doing T-Fiber. Let's not forget about that. That's a cost. That costs money. They're doing a rural expansion, and to get to the size and scale of their competitors, right? They're gonna have to make more money. Let's call it what it is. AT&T and Verizon didn't get to the size of companies they are today in terms of revenue and profits by charging less, or by charging $100 for 10 lines, right? That's not gonna fly anymore. T-Mobile is now a carrier, right? For those of you in denial, for those of you that may have not been affected by this move, a wake up call for you, because the next move could affect you. And they're doing these moves quite frequently now. Now, you can perceive it as a negative, or you can perceive it as a positive. That's up to you. You can look at it as a positive and say, okay, T-Mobile is now making more money. That means more investment into the network. And the results of that will be a better network for me. You can look at it like that, or you can just look at it as a negative and say, look, the John Ledger days are over. The Uncarrier's over. Now I have to wait for Dish to implement their plans and see how they disrupt. And then maybe in the future I can move to them and save money with them. That's how you can look at it too. But for now, the way I have to view it is it's a competitive play from T-Mobile. They're trying to gain higher profits. They have to please the shareholders. They're now paying a dividend. That's another thing to think about too. They're doing buybacks and a dividend. Verizon and AT&T don't even do that. Keep that in mind. So T-Mobile is now really money hungry. They're implementing strategies and plans that their competitors aren't even doing. So that means revenues have to soar. ARPUs have to soar, right? They have to go up. They have to increase. And T-Mobile is now forcibly doing that. It is what it is, right? That's what we're going to say. If you pay, you don't, you leave, that's up to you, right? You got to talk with your wallets now. But we have to hold T-Mobile to a different standard now. Right? We can no longer say, "Oh, it doesn't work here. I'm paying less. I'm fine with that." Right? That's out the window. We have to hold them to a higher standard, and that standard probably changed about a year and a half ago. Right? Some may even say it should have changed right after merger, but still needed to see if they were really going to implement what they're doing. And now it's official. They're implementing all the changes. The timelines are done. They no longer have to listen to the FCC with timelines and dates. That's done. That 3 years is done. So now they can implement their strategy moving forward. And it's all about money, which is, that's how business works. They got to fund the buybacks. They got to fund the dividend. The dividend's supposed to increase 10% every year. They got to fund that too. And they still got to figure out how to increase the CapEx. That's a big thing. That 9 to 10 billion, it's not going to stay there. You guys have heard me say that in several videos. And you also heard me say that I still maintain the position that Verizon will end up being the best network. They're spending more. Even at the 17 billion, they're spending more. Eventually, Verizon's fiber build will come to an end. So that CapEx is not going towards that anymore. So that 17 billion, guess what? It's going to go back into the network. Probably more millimeter wave nodes, probably small cells. Who knows? That fiber build, whatever that cost is, 3, 4, 5, 6 billion a year. That money eventually is going to go back into the network, the wireless network. Or I should say wireless infrastructure. So T-Mobile understands that eventually they're going to have to go to 12, 13 billion, 13, 14 billion on annual CapEx to further accelerate their plans, right? They have to scale C-band and DoD at some point. It's got to come. If they want to spend an additional 3 to 4 billion on millimeter wave for the fixed wireless access, where's that money going to come from? Right? They got to charge more. And that also means that they're probably going to have an even higher free cash flow, right? We see by 2026 a $18 billion free cash flow. That was before any of this happened. That was not a part of any of those numbers. The Go 5G Plus, the Go 5G Next, the forcible migrations, none of that was a part of the 2021 Analyst Day. Not a single thing. They still had Magenta and Magenta Max back then. Now, that conversation is totally different if they have another Analyst Day. Those numbers probably totally different now. They should be much higher now. Revenues, profits, free cash flow, all of that should be much higher if they have another Analyst Day in the near future. So, those are just some of the disclaimers early on. Legacy plans not affected. And the legacy plans not affected, or Sprint legacy not yet. Right? I want to say that very clear, not yet. That could come as well. Who knows when, but that could come as well. So keep that in mind. I'm just letting you guys know, warning you. Make sure you're paying attention to your bills. If you want to be informed and notified, October 17th, look through your emails, look through your text. The next billing cycle, check your bill. If you have been moved and you have an increase, make sure that that increase is worth it, right? If there's features that you use that you get that are more, keep it. If not, opt out. Get that credit and make sure that you take care of your account. So let me know what you think about that in the comment section. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Live. See y'all in the next one. Peace.